Welcome back, warrior. So guess what? My mom is officially a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. She is in the MTC right now, and it's exciting. You know something? When we walked through the MTC, they had like an open house for the new MTC that they built. And the thing that I loved were like the life-size murals. I'm so jealous that she gets to be there with those murals. Like you could just study scriptures next to Jesus in real life size, you know? Like it just sounds amazing. So anyways, just had to give you the update on that. Okay, we're reading Ether chapter 2. So here we go. Something that I heard in the Follow Him podcast. I love Brother John By the Way and Brother Hank Smith. They're the best. In fact, I think I've talked about how Hank Smith has helped me understand scriptures better than when I was reading them on my own. And he was like the first person to like make me feel like, wait, the scriptures are fun. The scriptures are awesome, right? And that I can understand them. So yeah, go listen to some of Hank Smith's talks and you will see what I'm talking about. Now, John By the Way is a little bit older than Hank Smith. And so John By the Way was a little bit before, he would have been more my time when I was a youth, right? But because I didn't get into it till I was an adult, I didn't even know who John By the Way was. And so my husband was like, oh, well, my youth speaker that I gained a love for was John By the Way. And I was like, who's that? You know? And so that's when my husband introduced me to him after I told him like how much I really liked Hank Smith talks. Anyways, what's funny is we think the way that my husband and I compare it, it's like, well, John By the Way was his youth speaker and Hank Smith's my youth speaker, which would technically make me even younger if he was really my youth speaker. But I'm just young in spirit, you know, because I feel like my spirit is still in seminary trying to learn scriptures, because when I was an actual youth, I wasn't paying attention in seminary and I was falling asleep. So not because my teacher was boring at all, but more so because I was a teenager and I didn't know the blessing of seminary that I had when I had it. You know, isn't that how we always do that? We take things for granted. Now I wish I had seminary every day. That'd be amazing. Luckily, I can say statements like that and not be called to be a seminary teacher, because here in Utah, the seminary teachers have to be like the seminary teachers are actually paid, and you have to apply and you have to have experience and you have to have all these things to actually be a seminary teacher here in Utah. But I know that being a seminary teacher in other parts of the country and other parts of the world, there are no requirements like that set in place. And they probably don't even get paid, which is really sad. I'm hoping that if you're a seminary teacher in a different part of the world, that you get paid, because that is a hard job. Like every day you have to wake up and teach a bunch of youth. Anyways, so I can make statements like, I wish I had seminary every day, and nobody would call me to teach seminary because we're here in Utah. Woo! You know, because you know there's those statements that you say and you're like, wait, and then like next week you get called to do that. Yeah, anyway. Okay, so Ether chapter 2. Oh, what was I saying? Okay, so hello. I was saying something about John By the Way and Hank Smith. So I was listening to the Follow Him podcast. I believe it was the ones on Mormon. And first of all, you need to go listen to the Follow Him podcast, where they talk about Mormon chapters 1 through 7, and they do part 1 and part 2. Amazing. But the thing that stood out to me that I wanted to share was that Mormon got to see so many father-son relationships throughout the time he was abridging the record, like, and compiling the Book of Mormon. And I never noticed that. And when his dad died, like when he was so young, it put me in a place of like, oh, his dad died when he was so young, and no wonder he loves to bring out those father-son relationships in the Book of Mormon. Like, you don't ever really think of it until you think of it, right? And they brought that to light, and I was like, oh, I love that so much. It's so cute. And then, of course, Mormon has now handed the plates to Moroni. And so, because Mormon passed away. And so now it's Moroni is telling us about these records here. So anyways, I just thought it was really awesome. Something small to notice, but like, that's powerful. Especially in the lives of our youth, our children and the young men, how powerful these father-son relationships are. So anyways, pretty awesome. Not going to discount, obviously, mother-daughter relationships, but I just think from his perspective, that's what he was able to write about. So it makes sense. Okay, now we're going to get into it. Ether chapter 2. The Jaredites prepare for their journey to a promised land. It is a choice land whereon men must serve Christ or be swept off. The Lord talks to the brother of Jared for 3 hours. They build barges. The Lord asks the brother of Jared to propose how the barges shall be lit. Okay. Verse 1 says, and it came to pass that Jared and his brother and their families, and also the friends of Jared and his brother and their families, went down into the, thank you, brother Jared, for asking, right? Went down into the valley, which was northward. And the name of the valley was Nimrod, being called after the mighty hunter, with their flocks, which they had gathered together, male and female of every kind. And they did also lay snares or traps and catch fowls of the air. And they did also prepare a vessel or a container that holds liquid, in which they did carry with them the fish of the waters. And they did also carry with them Deseret, which by interpretation is a honeybee. And thus they did carry with them swarms of bees, and all manner of that which was upon the face of the land, seeds of every kind. Okay, so not gonna lie, I would not have wanted to bring that. I'm sure I would have felt like we needed to bring it, but I probably would have been like, I'm not going to volunteer to take care of the bees. They would die in my stewardship, like if I took care of them. They just are so annoying. We had so many wasps in our trailer, and I was just going at them, just like swatting so hard. And so, yeah, would not be good. Just thinking about them gives me the EBGBs, the chills. Okay. So it says they have prayed and asked for it, and now the Lord is going to lead them to the promised land one step at a time. The journey will require a lot of effort, planning, and ingenuity. Imagine what this would involve. Here we have several families moving themselves, their possessions, their flocks, swarms of bees. Imagine being one to be carrying the bees. Yeah, see? That's funny that the redhead hostess would say that too. Yep. And they also made traps to catch the birds and hold fish. Anyway, pretty awesome. The bees, though. No thanks. My friend, she is a beekeeper. Beekeeper, is that what they're called? Beehive keeper? No, beekeeper. And she looks so cool in her bee suit, but yep, no thanks. Verse 4, and it came to pass that when they had come down into the valley of Nimrod, the Lord came down and talked with the brother of Jared, and he was in a cloud, and the brother of Jared saw him not. And it came to pass that the Lord commanded them that they should go forth into the wilderness, yea, into that quarter where there never had been man been. And it came to pass that the Lord did go before them and did talk with them as he stood in a cloud and gave directions whither they should travel. And it came to pass that they did travel in the wilderness and did build barges in which they did cross many waters, being directed continually by the hand of the Lord. I feel like my breath is running out. And then verse 7, and the Lord would not suffer that they should stop beyond the sea in the wilderness, but he would that they should come forth even unto the land of promise, which was choice above all other lands, which the Lord God had preserved for a righteous people. So notice that the promised land is not easy to reach. They will have to build barges and travel into the wilderness, and then suddenly they arrive to the seashore, and now they need to go beyond that. Okay, so I love that, because sometimes we look at our lives and we're like, why is everything so hard, you know? And I think it's funny that we think that, like, as soon as this, then our life is going to get better. As soon as this, then our life is going to get better. And I love the concept of, like, living like you don't need to escape your life. Like, let's see if I can elaborate a little bit. So, like, if you work and you just do life, you know, and you just need, like, your vacations to, like, escape your life, then you don't really enjoy life, and you, like, are just kind of, I don't know, just like avoiding life until you go on your vacation. And then your vacation, you're like loving life, and, you know, because you're able to escape your life, and then you come back, but then you hate life again, right? And, like, while I think it's great to go on vacation, while I think it's awesome to change things up, I don't like the idea of feeling like I need to escape my life all the time, because I want to be present and I want to enjoy my life that I am currently living. But a lot of the day-to-day, a lot of the hardships, and a lot of the things that come every day make it seem like we need to escape. And so I want to try and do better. I want to try and it ebbs and flows, because sometimes I'll be like, I love my life. My life is the best, you know? And then sometimes I'm like, life sucks. Why me? You know what I mean? And so it just, we're totally like Layman Lemuel, you know? And so, but I don't want to feel like I need to have a vacation planned every month because I need to escape my life, right? Like, that just doesn't feel right. Anyway, and so what I love this, how they said, like, getting to the promised land is not easy. Well, getting to the promised land is not easy, but also when you get to the promised land, do you remember, like, what the Nephites did when they got to the promised land, and when they were experiencing joy and stuff? They were working hard. They were producing things, and they weren't idle. And so I'm like, okay, so you get to the promised land, and then you're still going to be working. So we have to get in our minds that, that work is great. Like, when we are engaged in work or engaged in serving or engaged in life, like, that's okay, and that's great. And it's, I don't know how to, I'm not explaining this as well as I feel it. But maybe you can understand, and maybe you can make a comment and maybe put it in better words than I'm putting in. But that's, like, kind of what I'm like. Don't live your life in a way that you need to escape all the time. Be present and be grateful for those things that you do currently enjoy and that you currently have, right? I don't know how to do it. Okay, so here we go. Verse 8. And he had sworn in his wrath unto the brother of Jared that whoso should possess this land of promise from that time henceforth and forever should serve him and the true and only God, or they should be swept off when the fullness of his wrath should come upon them. And now we can behold the decrees or official orders of God concerning this land, that it is a land of promise, and whatsoever nation shall possess it shall serve God, or they shall be swept off when the fullness of his wrath shall come upon them. And the fullness of his wrath cometh upon them when they are ripened in iniquity. For behold, this is a land which is choice above all other lands. Wherefore he that doth possess it shall serve God, or shall be swept off. For it is the everlasting decree of God, and it is not until the fullness of iniquity among the children of men, or until among the children of the land, that they are swept off. And this cometh unto you, O Gentiles, that ye may know the decrees of God, that ye may repent and not continue in your iniquities until the fullness come, that ye may not bring down the the fullness of wrath of God upon you, as the inhabitants of the land have hitherto done. Behold, this is a choice land, and whatsoever nation shall possess it shall be free from bondage and from captivity and from all other nations under heaven, if they will but serve the God of the land, who is Jesus Christ, who hath been manifested by the things which we have written. Okay, so there's a quote here from President Ezra Taft Benson. He says, this consecrated land has been placed under the everlasting decree of God. That decree is recorded in the sacred book of Mormon, a new witness for Christ in these words. For behold, this is a land which is choice above all other lands. Wherefore, he that doth possess it shall serve God, or shall be swept off. For it is the everlasting decree of God. Behold, this is a choice land, and whatsoever nation shall possess it shall be free from bondage, and from captivity, and from all other nations under heaven, if they will but serve the God of the land, who is Jesus Christ. The eventful destiny of America has also been revealed to God's prophets. To Joseph Smith, the Lord revealed that the whole of America is Zion itself, from north to south. Further, the Lord decreed this land to be the place of the New Jerusalem, which should come down out of heaven, the holy sanctuary of the Lord, to serve God's eternal purposes and to prepare this land for Zion. God established the constitution of this land by the hands of wise men who he raised up, and redeemed the land by the shedding of blood. Too many Americans have lost sight of the truth that God is our source of freedom, the lawgiver, and the personal righteousness, and that personal righteousness is the most important essential to preserving our freedom. End quote. President Ezra Taft Benson, October 1979 General Conference. Ooh, love that quote. Also, this past week, we had elections, and we got to vote. And fun fact is, my husband and I did not vote for the same party or the same person or what have you. But what we can agree on is that we love God and that we serve God, and that we are Christian, and that is, I guess, that's what unites us. You know, sometimes we try to focus on who voted for who and who did what and what party is this and what party is that. And then we allow those things to separate us. But really, we just need to see what unites us, right? Like, the thing that unites all of us is living here in this awesome country where military, like, protect us. Like, they all sacrifice their lives for each one of us, regardless of what party affiliation we are with. They guard us with their lives and protect us. And what a sacrifice they do. And it just always humbles me to know that there's people out there that sacrifice themselves for all of us, regardless of what we believe or what we like or favorite colors, or, you know what I mean? They just flat out protect us the way that we are. And I feel like, to honor their sacrifice for us, we need to be more united in our communities, to just being kind and Christ-like to everyone, no matter what, you know? Like, I just hate how much hate there is and division. Like, what, like, is it necessary? Does it matter in the long run? No, I don't think it matters. And I think it's funny, like, in our family, we'll have chats, and as soon as it gets to be political, we're like, okay, we're gonna let everyone believe what they want to believe, or follow who they want to follow, and like who they want to like, and, you know, but we don't ever let it come between us in our family. And that's what I love. I love that we can put those things aside, those things that separate us, and come together with the things that unite us, like our family and the love that we have for each other. And so, anyways, I think that is what's key. So whatever, you know, however you might be feeling about the election here in the United States of America, it's going to be okay. And what is President Hinckley said? It'll all be okay in the end. And if it's not the end, or if it's not okay, it's not the end. So there we have it. And really, who are we really waiting for? All these other people that are rulers of lands and things like that, it doesn't matter. We're just waiting for Christ to come. And he's going to be the ultimate ruler, and he will have all my votes, and we'll have all the parties for him. Right? Because that's who matters to me. And so everybody else is just like a temporary hold until Christ comes. And then it's just going to be amazing after that, right? It's just like, we're just waiting. We're just kind of waiting. It's got temporary peeps in line there. And that's it. That's it. No big deal. We don't need to hate people because of who their friends are, or who they want to like, or who, that, like, it just never is going to turn out well for us. And that's what Satan wants us to do. He wants to divide us. And don't fall for his traps. Okay. All right. So verse 13. Okay. And now I proceed with my record, for behold, it came to pass that the Lord did bring Jared and his brethren forth, even to that great sea which divideth the lands. And as they came to the sea, they pitched their tents, and they called the name of the place Winegar. And they dwelt in tents upon the seashore for the space of 4 years. Okay, so nice beachfront property for these guys. I would call that the promised land in my book. Am I right? Hello. And it came to pass that at the end of the 4 years that the Lord came again unto the brother of Jared, and stood in a cloud and talked with him. And for the space of 3 hours did the Lord talk with the brother of Jared, and chasten him, because he remembered not to call upon the name of the Lord. Hey, come on, Jared. I thought you were supposed to remind your brother to talk to God, right? Like, hello, where are you at? Come on. I guess he forgot, because, like, everybody forgot, because when you're living on beachfront property, you feel like you're in paradise, and it's like, life is amazing, right? When your life is going good, do you pray more or less? That's a question that you get to answer for yourself. I won't tell you what I do, but I'm sure you can assume that it's probably the same as you. And the brother of Jared repented of the evil which he had done, and did call upon the name of the Lord for his brethren who were with him. And the Lord said unto him, I will forgive thee and thy brethren for their sins, but thou shalt not sin any more. For ye shall remember that my spirit will not always strive with man. Wherefore, if ye will sin until ye are fully ripe, ye shall be cut off from the presence of the Lord. And these are my thoughts upon the land which I shall give you for your inheritance, for it shall be a land choice above all other lands. And the Lord said, go to work and build after the manner of barges, which ye have hitherto built. And it came to pass that the brother of Jared did go to work, and also his brethren, and built barges after the manner which they had built, according to the instructions of the Lord. And they were small, and they were light upon the water, even like unto the lightness of a fowl upon the water. And they were built after the manner that they were exceedingly tight, even that they would hold water like unto a dish. And the bottom thereof was tight like unto a dish, and the sides thereof were tight like unto a dish, and the ends thereof were peaked, and the top thereof was tight like unto a dish, and the length thereof was like the length of a tree, and the door thereof, when it was shut, was tight like unto a dish. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just wondering, like, how do they know what tight like unto a dish is? Do they have Tupperware? Like, do they have Rubbermaid? I don't know. How do they know what's tight like unto a dish? That's what I want to know. Like, who invented their Tupperwares? I want to know. And it came to pass that the brother of Jared cried unto the Lord, saying, O Lord, I have performed the work which thou hast commanded me, and I have made the barges according as thou hast directed me. And behold, O Lord, in them there is no light. Whither shall we steer? And also we shall perish, for in them we cannot breathe, save it is the air which is in them. Therefore we shall perish. So I love how Mahanrai Moriankamer is like telling the Lord, like, hey, check this out. We don't have any light and we can't breathe. So these are a couple problems that we have. And this is what the Lord says. Verse 20. And the Lord said unto the brother of Jared, behold, thou shalt make a hole in the top and also on the bottom. And when thou shalt suffer for air, thou shalt unstop the hole and receive air. And if it be so that the water come in upon thee, behold, ye shall stop the hole, that ye may not perish in the flood. And it came to pass that the brother of Jared did so according as the Lord had commanded. And he cried again unto the Lord, saying, O Lord, behold, I have done even as thou hast commanded me, and I have prepared the vessel for my people, and behold, there's no light in them. So this is the second time he's talking about light, right? So he mentioned it to the Lord originally. The Lord only gave him one solution. How come he didn't give him two, right? So, and he says, and I have prepared the vessels for my people, and behold, there is no light in them. Behold, O Lord, wilt thou suffer that we shall cross this great water in darkness? That's so funny to me, because it's like, really, like, if you want light, like, figure it out, right? So, but I guess he'd been led by the Lord so much that probably he was just like, oh, well, I better ask the Lord, right? Sometimes we lead ourselves so much that we forget to ask the Lord for help, right? And but I love that he was led by the Lord so much that he was forgetting that he could think of his own ideas. There's a quote from Elder Jeffrey R. Holland. He says, it is difficult to imagine what a 3-hour rebuke from the Lord might be like. Oh, okay, I'm going to start over. So these were for the verses from before. From Elder Jeffrey R. Holland, quote, it is difficult to imagine what a 3-hour rebuke from the Lord might be like. But the brother of Jared endured it. With immediate repentance and prayer, this prophet again sought guidance for the journey they had been assigned and those who were to pursue it. God accepted his repentance and lovingly gave further direction for their crucial mission, end quote. So what I love is that they were having a fun time on the beach, living the beach life, so jealous right now. Why? Because it's winter in Utah. Okay. And then like they were doing that for 4 years. The Lord gives us instruction gave them instruction. And then for 4 years, they didn't do anything except stayed there. And I'm like, wait, they just stayed there. Like they didn't do anything else, but it was a super nice place, obviously, but then they didn't really know what else they needed to do. And so I guess they thought that the Lord would just come talk to them to let them know what their next step was. But if we want to move forward with our next step, we need to be the ones to initiate like that conversation with the Lord. Like he's not just, he'll come to us, but we don't want to wait till the Lord comes to us. We want to be proactive and we want to come to the Lord first. Like, hey, what's my next step? What do I do today? And so I think that was awesome that, that they were like, hey, this is a sweet place. Let's just chill here. And that they didn't even talk to the Lord, not one time. Wow. And it's only awesome, like, because it makes me feel better about myself, right? Like how many times do we ask the Lord, what we need to do? And then he comes back with something and we're like, okay, sweet. But like, it didn't really accomplish the whole goal that we wanted, but it accomplished enough of a goal that we can stay there for a minute. And then we wonder like, what, wasn't there more to this? Isn't there more than this? And then we come back to the Lord like, hey, we've been here for like 4 years waiting for you. And the Lord's like, what? You didn't reach out to me for 4 years and now you want me to come tell you something? Mm-hmm. Right. Like that's kind of what I pictured that conversation going on. But of course, Mahanrai Moriyankumar was just like repentant. And so I love that. So both the Nephites and the Jaredites learned that you do not have to be a trained shipbuilder in order to build a worthy ship, right? The Lord can show them the manner in which to build, just like the Lord can help you become a shipbuilder or whatever he needs you to be. But notice that there were not ships miraculously waiting upon the seashore. They had to build the barges, and that would start with the very first steps, building tools and chopping down trees. This was not an easy first step. I wonder if the Lord didn't tell him about that, and like maybe that step felt really daunting. Maybe the Lord did kind of allude to like having to go to a different land and crossing a sea, but or mentioned it. And maybe that felt really overwhelming. And so you almost like don't want to ask the Lord because you know what's coming. And so there's that too. There's those times when I know I've done that, where I'm like, okay, well that was good, but now I guess I need to go do more work, right? And then in verses 16 and 17, the Lord then gives the brother of Jared direction on how these barges need to be built. Notice how often the Lord tells Jared the barges needed to be tight like unto a dish. A dish can hold water without leaking, and that is how tight these ships needed to be on the top and bottom and the sides, all of it. So it was 5 times in verse 17 the Lord tells them they need to be tight. These barges were being designed to be able to take on water from any direction without sinking. So the design of the ship brought 2 problems. Okay, so those were those problems that we noticed, the light and the breathing. And we were able to figure out the breathing. But now let's see what happens next. Verse 23, and the Lord said unto the brother of Jared, what will ye that I should do that ye may have light in your vessels? For behold, ye cannot have windows, for they will be dashed in pieces, neither shall ye take fire with you, for ye shall not go by the light of fire. For behold, ye shall be as a whale in the midst of the sea, for the mountain waves shall dash upon you. Nevertheless, I will bring you up again out of the depths of the sea, for the winds have gone forth out of my mouth, and also the rains and the floods have I sent forth. So it's going to be hard. So, and you can't have windows and stuff. So what do you think we should do? And behold, I prepare you against these things, for ye cannot cross this great deep, save I prepare you against the waves of the sea, and the winds which have gone forth, and the floods which shall come. Therefore, what will ye that I should prepare for you, that ye may have light when ye are swallowed up in the depths of the sea? So I love that. He put that back on him. He's like, well, what do you want me to do for you? So Elder Jeffrey R. Holland says this, the point is that faith means trusting God in good times and bad, even if that includes some suffering, until we see his arm revealed in our behalf. That can be difficult in our modern world when many have come to believe that the highest good in life is to avoid all suffering, that no one should ever anguish over anything. But that belief will never lead us to the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. With apologies to Elder Neil A. Maxwell for daring to modify the enlarge something he once said, or daring to modify and enlarge something he once said, I too suggest that one's life cannot be both faith-filled and stress-free. It simply will not work to glide naively through life, saying as we sip another glass of lemonade, Lord, give me all the choicest virtues, but be certain not to give me grief, nor sorrow, nor pain, nor opposition. Please do not let anyone dislike me or betray me, and above all, do not ever let me feel forsaken by thee or those I love. In fact, Lord, be careful to keep me from all the experiences that made thee divine. And then, when the rough sledding by everyone else is over, please let me come and dwell with thee, where I can boast about how similar our strengths and our characters are as I float along my cloud of comfortable Christianity. That's the best thing ever. My beloved brothers and sisters, Christianity is comforting, but it is often not comfortable. The path to holiness and happiness here and hereafter is a long and sometimes rocky one. It takes time and tenacity to walk it. But of course, the reward for doing so is monumental. End quote. I love that so much. Elder Jeffrey R. Holland, October 2020 General Conference. He gave that talk during COVID, the hardest time of all of our lives, because we were all experiencing separation, loneliness, and the deaths of loved ones, and just the worst, right? And so I love that he was able to point that out to all of us, that Christianity is comforting, but it is often not comfortable. In fact, it reminds me of a quote when I used to go to CrossFit. We went CrossFit XD forever. Anyways, I love that place. The best people and best workouts. Anyways, that was a time when I wanted to work out, but I didn't want to give up sugar and I couldn't see results. And I was like, why am I not seeing results? Well, I forgot that I needed to stop the sugar and the heavy carbs. But anyways, forget that. We're talking about the comfortable, Anyway, so there was a shirt in there that they were selling and it said, comfortable with uncomfortable. And I was like, oh, that is so true, because every day that I would go work out there, I was sore. And then the day after I'd be sore, and then I'd show up again to work out some more so that I could continue to be sore. And then it was like it's just like some like level of soreness every day. And it felt so uncomfortable. And I was like, what is, like, I know I'm strong. I'm able to do push-ups now. I'm able to climb a rope. Yeah, that was awesome, by the way. Like, to be able to climb a rope is like superhero strength level confidence right there. If you've never tried it, go learn, because it's amazing. And then what else? That it was just awesome. The feeling of being stronger, but it wasn't so awesome to feel sore all the time. And so I think that's what Christianity is like. When we are stretching ourselves, when we are doing hard things, then we're growing. We're experiencing that growth in ourselves. And Christianity is comforting, but it is often not comfortable. And when does it feel comfortable? If you feel comfortable in your Christianity, you're not doing it right. Right? I feel like that's true. I feel like that's true. If you're comfortable in your Christianity, you're probably not doing it right. You're probably doing something wrong. Time to reevaluate. Yeah. So anyways, I need a shirt, comfortable with uncomfortable. Whether I'm working out or reading my scriptures or trying to go to the temple or waking up super early to go work at the temple or serving my neighbor because I hate cooking, but I want to share a meal, all these things. Or just being kind to somebody. And because it's hard, it's uncomfortable to be kind sometimes. Especially now, obviously you guys have already now heard the elections and the results, and everyone seems to be super going crazy. And I'm just like, this is so wild. I've never seen people acting so crazy just because of an election for a presidential candidate. And to me, it's like, just focus on the things you can control. I feel like sometimes our votes, we might think we can control those, and I don't know how much it's true, but you might be a conspiracy theorist, or maybe you're not, and it doesn't matter. But what really matters is what we can control in ourselves. And let's control ourselves and be kind to other people, regardless of what their favorite color is, their race, their gender, or where they live, or what they eat, or what presidential party they're a part of, or who they voted for. It doesn't matter. You can just be kind. That's something we can control, right? Okay, so that was the end of that chapter, which is kind of fun because you're at this cliffhanger, like the Lord's like, hey, what do you want me to do with, how do you want me to help you with the light in your vessels, right? In these barges. So, pretty awesome. Let me read our Read It, Live It. Okay, the Read It, Live It is so good. Ready? Okay, you got to promise that you're going to do it this time. Okay, here it is. What is the errand the Lord has for you today? Comfortable with uncomfortable. Remember? Go to work and build. Ooh, Awesome. Awesome. Okay, here it is again, just because I know you want to do a screensaver or whatever. Okay, thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up. You did fantastic. We are officially now going to be on Ether Chapter 3. And until Ether Chapter 3, stay strong, warrior, and be comfortable with uncomfortable because it'll be worth it. That's where the growth is.